Hey, everybody, I hope you're having a great week. We're closing out the month of March, and I would be severely troubled if I didn't do an episode on the women who rock. That's right. March is Women's History Month, and we might as well take a look at a few of my favorites. I had a really hard time, still struggling. I got a pile of stuff over here as far as the ladies who rock. As far as music goes, whether you go all the way back to, blues and rock, women of the past like Sister Rosetta Tharpe or Big Mama Thornton. Women have been rocking since the beginning of music has been recorded. And like I said, try to narrow it down to my few favorites and uh, almost impossible. So we're going to take a look at a bunch, talk about them a little bit, and, try and keep this episode somewhat concise so it doesn't get totally out of whack. So let's start with the queen of rock and roll. She recently passed away. That is the wonderful Miss Tina Turner. Whether it was the Ike and Tina review or once she got away from Ike after, suffering at his hands, just a fantastic performer. She played the Acid Queen in The Who's Telling of Tommy on film, and she has some great, some fantastic songs. Private Dancer is really where I got to know her. Then as I got older, I listened to more of her older stuff like Nutbush City Limits and things like that. And this is a great collection. It's just, if you need to get everything, like sometimes you don't need to have everything in the collection. I had a lot of her stuff on cassette. And I, upgraded and got this on CD. This is simply the best of Tina Turner. And it's exactly what you'd expect. Better Be Good to Me, the best. I Can't Stand the Rain. What's Love Got to Do with It? Nutbush City Limits. When you get in that, what you get is what you see. We'll try that in English. Let's Stay Together. River Deep Mountain High, awesome track, and a whole bunch of others. Not going to stay too much on any one artist today, just simply because I got so many to get through. Another one that I've always loved is Miss Stevie Nicks. All right. This here is the Belladonna Live album. It was a Record Store Day release, Record Store Day exclusive, and it goes back to the 81 Belladonna tour, which was known as the White Winged Dove tour. And it's got everything you'd expect on here. Got Stevie songs from her time with Fleetwood Mac, like Gold Dust Woman and Rhiannon, and also, other tracks that she put out on the Belladonna album, such as the title track and Edge of 17 and Stop Dragging My Heart Around and Leather and Lace, which she, did with Tom Petty and Don Henley. Hey, take a look there. There's the track listing. And the lovely Miss Nicks, and obviously, she's still out there rocking, which is fantastic. If you get a chance to see her live, don't hesitate. Go. I've been fortunate enough to see her a few times. Got to see her with the classic Fleetwood Mac lineup, which was great before they booted Lindsay again. So Miss Stevie Nicks, she's been out there. It's like everyone's seen that famous meme of Stevie Nicks and Taylor Swift. The one where, they talk about Taylor Swift, writing whiny songs about her exes, whereas this badass over here was the one that, wrote songs about what a jerk her boyfriend was and made him play the guitar on it. So Miss Stevie Nicks. I also have this great box set from Stevie. What would a week be when I didn't show you at least one box set? This is the Enchanted box set. It's a 3-disc set. It's got, book attached in there with some photos in studio and live. A nice live shot of Stevie, and this pretty much collects her all her works with Atlantic Records up through 88. So you've got Enchanted, Outside the Rain, After the Glitter Fades, which is one of my favorites, Wild Heart, Leather and Lace Again, Garbo, Stand Back, Nightbird, Stop Dragging My Heart Around, Beauty and the Beast, Edge of 17, Street Angel, I Can't Wait, Talk to Me. Has anyone written a song for you? Fantastic song. 1,000 Days. Just really great stuff from Stevie Nicks. She definitely knows how to bring it live. Like I said, if you haven't seen her, go check her out live. Definitely worth seeing. So Miss Stevie Nicks. Let's go back a little bit in time. Let's go back. That was like the late 70s, 80s. Let's go back further. This has become one of my favorite albums, okay, over time. This is Joni Mitchell, okay, and this one is called Ladies of the Canyon, all right? And, Joni Mitchell was part of the Laurel Canyon group, and this is an original copy from when it was released. I was lucky enough to get a hold of it. Became familiar with Joni Mitchell, like really fell in love with her from that Christmas movie, Love Actually. And in the movie, Alan Ruckman presents his wife with the album Blue, the classic album Blue. And there's the song that plays is Both Sides Now, which I absolutely fell in love with. And then I started going back and getting more into to Joni's stuff. And I'm happy to see that she's been out performing. She's had medical issues over the past several years. And, if you take a look here at the gatefold, it's got the lyrics there. And the album's basic black, nothing really to look at. And, just a gray sleeve, nothing spectacular. But it has Morning Morgantown on here, Ladies of the Canyon, Rainy Night House, Big Yellow Taxi, Woodstock, which she originally wrote, and then Crosby, Stills, and Nash made famous, and The Circle Game. I also have a box set of hers that's hanging out back here, but not going to go into every single thing that I have because we'll be here forever. Another one from the 70s. And unfortunately, I haven't seen Joni perform, which is, aside from live albums and live DVDs and stuff like that, I've never had the honor of seeing her live. One of the ladies from the 70s who I did see live, Miss Bonnie Raitt, okay? This is the Nick of Time album. It's obviously one of my favorites. Has the title track on here, Thing Called Love, John Hyde's song. Love Letter, Cry on My Shoulder, Real Man, Nobody's Girl, one of my absolute favorite songs from Bonnie Raitt. Have a Heart, another big hit. Too Soon to Tell, I Will Not Be Denied. I Ain't Gonna Let You Break My Heart Again, and The Road Is My Middle Name. Bonnie's been around forever, since the 70s, and she's still out there rocking and putting out some fantastic stuff. A couple of years back, I believe she put out an album called Silver Lining. I know I own it somewhere. It's in my collection here. She is a fantastic slide guitar player. Aside from being a great singer, great songwriter, she is a great slide guitar player, which, a lot of these women don't get enough credit for the musicianship. They get credit for their singers of that, this and that, but, they don't get the credit for actually being, in a lot of cases, the musical foundation of the music that they present, and Bonnie Raitt's one of them. I was lucky to see her back as part of the Walden Woods concert with Don Henley and Sting and Jimmy Buffett. Rest in peace, Jimmy. And she was phenomenal. I mean, she really is. She really captivates the stage. She really can, not only play and sing, but she is a great front woman. And she definitely is worth checking out. If you've never listened to Bonnie, this is a good place to start. Okay, this is came out in '89, and it's on Capitol Records, and definitely a good one. Let's talk about the ones that are a little rough and tumble. Okay, let's go to another one of my favorites. This is where a lot of people think about when they think of the all-girl rock bands, and that is the Runaways. I'm going to take this out just because it's hard to see. There's a bit of a glare on this one, so let's take this out. This is one of those flapped records with the glue on the back, which always drives me nuts. But we'll take a look at the gatefold here, and look at this. All right, these lovely young ladies were all under 18 when this album was released. Kind of put together by Kim Fowley, kind of a Svengali approach, I guess. And, you had Sandy West, who was 16, Lita Ford, that's right, the metal queen, Lita Ford, at age 17 on lead guitar. Jackie Fox, 16 on bass and vocals. Cherie Curry at 16 on vocals and piano, and Joan Jett at 16 on rhythm guitar and vocals. You can take a look at them there. This is the classic lineup of the Runaways. This was the initial album, and it had their huge hit for them, huge in Japan. Cherry Bomb, which has been performed by members of the band since leaving the band, most notably Joan Jett. You Drive Me Wild. Is It Dare Night, Thunder, Rock and Roll, Lovers, American Nights, Blackmail, Secrets, and Dead End Justice. And these ladies were definitely badasses. And to be out there and on tour at this age, they really didn't get as popular as they should have been. They were kind of blown off because people thought they were just some sort of artificial band put together, and in a way they were, but they really broke the chops. I mean, and if you look at it now, you had 3 of them left the band and had solo careers. Sherry Curry did an album with her sister Marie, and she did a couple other albums, but she went on to do a little bit of acting. I believe the movie was called Little Foxes with Christy McNichol. She was in that, and that kind of got her got her 15 minutes of fame, I guess you could say. But Lita Ford and Joan Jett, I mean, they really did have great careers, with Joan being the biggest star of them all. Lita and Joan are still out there touring. With this, let's take a look. It's just basic black, nothing there, but it does have this little fold out little sheet here with the lyrics and liner notes, as well as little info there and a photo of them. And they were fantastic at the time, and I'm really happy been able to see both Joan and Lita live. And Lita is still a phenomenal guitar player, and she can sing. Obviously you know her from her songs Kiss Me Deadly, and also Close Your Eyes Forever with Ozzy. Fantastic. They were kind of I guess kind of maligned. Cherie used to come out on stage in lingerie, which I guess took away. People didn't take them seriously for that. It got them attention, but probably not the attention they wanted or deserved. Another band that was like them, but more current, all-female band. It's like, not talking about the Go-Go's. They were the 80s, and they were a great band, but they were more pop. They were punks that went pop, and they basically had like a real good girl image, which was kind of unusual because they really weren't good girls. If you ever see anything on them and you read their history, they were kind of an unusual bunch. And with the Runaways, at one point, they actually had Michelle Steele in the band, or Michael Steele in the band, depends on how you pronounce it, who went on to be part of the Bangles. She got ousted basically when Lita Ford joined the band. And obviously wildly successful with the Bangles, with Susanna Hoffs, another great vocalist as well, and songwriter. She's done stuff with Matthew Sweet, who I love. But anyhow, another band typical of kind of in the Runaways mold, who had a run of albums in the 90s. The Donnas. All right, the Donnas were a great rock band from the 90s, early 2000s, and they put out a bunch of good stuff. This is the Donnas turned 21. Just want to recognize them. They're I believe they've split up at this point. Haven't heard anybody going solo yet, but definitely worth checking out. More ladies who rock. Also, speaking of the Runaways, this was one of the first albums I got, yet again, on cassette. Okay, way back, I believe it was 82. I believe that. Let me take a look here, because I had it on cassette, and obviously I bought it on vinyl. Yeah, I'm not seeing the date, but I'm almost 100% positive it's 82, and that is Joan Jett. All right, I love rock and roll. She's a rock and roll Hall of Famer, and rightfully so. I remember being like really stoked about this album. I think I was in the 8th grade when it came out, so back when dinosaurs actually roamed the earth. It's got the title track, I Love Rock and Roll. Crimson and Clover, great cover from Tommy James and the Shondells. Victim of Circumstance, Bits and Pieces, You're Too Possessive, Little Drummer Boy, You Don't Know What I've Got. Fantastic album from Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. Moving right along, okay. This is kind of a rarity in my collection, and one of my favorites. I've probably seen Benatar live more than any of the acts here, I believe. And I pulled this one out. I mean, she's got great albums. You know, you got Crimes of Passion back there, and the Benatar live album is fantastic. This one is one of my favorites. This is Precious Time, and this is an original copy from Japan. It's got the title track, Promises. Got the title track. It's got Promises in the Dark, Fire and Ice. It's a Tough Life, Evil Genius, Helter Skelter. This is a fantastic album. This is, you know, nothing really special to look at here. You know, typical of the times, has the clear plastic sleeve, and this was on the Toshiba EMI label. In Japan, it was released on Chrysalis Records here. What I've always wondered, like a lot of these ladies have been fortunate enough where their stuff has been recognized and been, you know, they put out box sets. You know, you have a box set for, you know, one of my other favorites, which we'll get into, but you have box sets for Stevie Nicks. You have box sets for, you know, for Heart, you know, which we're going to talk about. You have box sets for the Pretenders. No box set. There's been lots of greatest hits packages for Pat Benatar, and I know she's been on a bunch of labels, and Chrysalis is really no more. But where in God's name is the box set for Pat Benatar? You know, she's a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, and, you know, nothing. No box set for Pat. I mean, it's kind of crazy. She's, you know, New York girl, born in Brooklyn, Long Island chick. You know, I got to see her a bunch of times. Seen her in big venues, small venues. Seen her for free at Playland, which is an amusement park here in New York, in Westchester County, Rye, New York. And she's a powerhouse vocalist. She, you know, she's this tiny thing, and she's got the hugest voice, and it's a beautiful voice. And, you know, she's been with her husband since the beginning. They kept that quiet, you know, because they didn't want to, you know, I guess, piss off the male fans thinking that she was not available. But, you know, great vocalist. Take a look at another one of the boxes since I mentioned it. Let's talk about the sisters, Ann and Nancy Wilson of Heart. If you're unfamiliar with Heart, and how could you be, and why would you be here if you didn't know anything about Heart? You know, there was a point in the 70s, all right, someone at their record label thought it would be a wise idea as a marketing gimmick to kind of propose that not only that they were sisters, but they were lesbian lovers. Could you imagine the uproar that caused when that was put out? And needless to say, Ann and Nancy were pissed, but what was done is done. This is a great little box set. We're just going to gloss over that. Great little box set. This is their first ever box set. It's a 4-disc collection. Seen the girls and the ladies in Heart a few times, and they always put on a great show. Magic Man, Crazy on You, Barracuda, Dreamboat Annie, let's see, Little Queen, Heartless, How Can I Refuse, Dog and Butterfly, Babyless Strange, Even It Up. I mean, these girls, they kick ass live, and they've always been fantastic. From what I understand, they're going to reconvene and go back on tour, which would be wonderful. I would definitely go check them out again. You know, they've had their issues back and forth over the years, but they have gotten back together, and they're really something to see live. Take a look at the box, just because we have it here. You know, it's a neat little box set. Basically has the different logos that Heart has had over the years. Get to see all 4 of them there. Try and keep that in the frame and in focus. And on the other side, and this actually houses the discs, you have some photos, some pretty cool historical stuff there of Heart and band. Even this is kind of neat. The way they have the spine there spells out Heart. And this great book, okay, which has, you know, a lot of photos and little blips on each of the songs that are contained wherein. You know, great stuff. Get to see some older pictures of Ann and Nancy. Let's pull this up. Hold on. Here's a very young, curly-haired Nancy Wilson, who, if you don't know, was married to Cameron Crowe. They did a bunch of movie soundtracks together. And we're going to be talking about them in the weeks to come, because one of the things I'm going to do are some of my favorite musical soundtracks from movies. So, you know, we'll get into that another day. So, Ladies in Heart, there they go. All right, we'll put that over here. Next up, go all the way back to the beginning. You know, they always say you never forget your first love. First concert I ever went to was back at Jones Beach Theater on Long Island. If you live in the area and you haven't been to Jones Beach Theater, go see it. I mean, the only thing that I've heard that compares to it and actually is better than it is Red Rocks out in Colorado, which I've yet to get to. Hopefully one day I will. But, you know, I went to see the Thompson Twins. Thompson Twins were the first band I ever saw live. They were the headliner. The first band I ever saw live, Berlin. The lovely Terry Nunn, okay? This is where everything kicked off for them, the album Pleasure Victim. You know, they had some bigger hits with Take My Breath Away from the Love Life album. And this one had The Metro, Masquerade, and Sex, Ima. And if you're unfamiliar with that song, do yourself a favor, check it out. This is an OG copy. And you can see Terry there. Or if that's not good enough, here she is. This is Terry Nunn. And obviously, also with the picture, I know it's hard to keep your eyes off of her, but you have the lyrics there for the album. And I remember seeing them live, and basically that's when I sold my soul to rock and roll, is when I got to see Berlin perform live on this tour. Actually, it was the Love Life tour, but they did the Metro and they did Sex, which they kind of simulated on stage, which was mind-blowing for, like, you know, a 16-year-old me. And, you know, just good stuff. And Terry and Berlin have been on tour. They've been doing the Rock of the 80s cruise, Rock of the 80s cruises, and they go out on tour periodically. If you ever get a chance to see them live, go check them out. Very worthwhile. They put out a bunch of albums, then they kind of broke apart, got back together with the original lineup with Crawford on bass. If you're wondering what they sound like, obviously they're a new wave band. Kind of think of a more, like, as far as the music goes, a more poppy version in a lot of ways of, like, Kraftwerk. You know, if you're into electronic music and you never heard Berlin, Kraftwerk is a good place to put it, but definitely a more poppy version of it. You know, she falls right in line. You know, better vocally, I would have to say, than Del Bozio, who I love as well. But you know, fantastic stuff. You know, it's like it's very synth driven. Very 80s new wave, and you know, if you dig it, you dig it, and I definitely do. Changing genres, I guess, and changing times, definitely. A New Yorker, all right? Miss Fiona Apple, and this was her debut album. There you get a picture of a very young Miss Apple right there. I have followed her career since the start. I was lucky enough to see her on her very first tour as part of Z100's Jingle Ball here in New York, which, you know, if you're familiar with that format, the Jingle Ball is basically, you know, a group of artists, all, you know, pop artists basically. But, you know, it could be anything from like rap to rock to straight up pop, synth, whatever. I mean, the lineups are all over the place. And, you know, she garnered instant attention with this album with songs like Shadow Boxer, Criminal, Sleep to Dream. You know, it's really, you know, fantastic album. This is a 180-gram version of it. Haven't opened this one yet. You know, I have it on CD. Saw it out in the wild, and I decided to pick it up because I absolutely love this album, wanted it on vinyl, so here it is. Let's take a look at another box set. Lots of box sets this week. This one is The Pretenders. And you've heard me talk about The Pretenders in the past. I got to see them finally got to see them live, open for Guns N' Roses this past summer. And, you know, I got to say, Chrissy Hynde's voice still sounds great. I mean, and her new band, bunch of young studs with her, they kick ass. They really do a fantastic job. With their versions of Chrissy's songs. This is the little sheet. I almost dropped the hype sticker. Yeah, I did. This is the sheet that used to have these wraparounds on these box sets, so you would know it was on the album, even though it was printed on the back of the album there. 4-disc set, and it's actually a 5-disc set, and it's got performances from 79 to 2003. This covers everything up to 2006. It was released in 2006 by Rhino, and it's got everything you want to know from the Pretenders. And it's called Akron and Hereford's Most Popular Music, Pirate Radio, The Pretenders. It's called Walk the Plank Records production, 1979-2005, not 6. And it's got everything you'd want from there. Precious, Stop Your Sobbing, Kid, The Wait, Mystery Achievement, Brass in Pocket, Talk of the Town, Message of Love, The Adulteress, Bad Boys Get Spanked, and that's just disc 1. And there's more. Back on the Chain Gang, Thumbelina, Thin Line Between Love and Hate, My City Was Gone, Middle of the Road, 2,000 Miles, which is a great Christmas tune, When I Changed My Life, My Baby, Him to Her, Hold a Candle to This, Disc 3, all right, Downtown, How Do I Miss You, Bold as Love, Hollywood Perfume, Night in My Veins, Angel of the Morning, their original version of it, Private Life, Every Day is Like Sunday, California, The Needle and the Damage Done, Biker, Nails in the Road, Legalize Me, and on and on. I mean, it's a great collection. If you get a chance to find this somewhere out there, I've had this obviously for a long time. It's a great place to start if you have nothing from the Pretenders. Highly recommend this box set, and you get video as well, which is always great to have. Got to see them live, like I said. Definitely worth seeing live. They're out touring their new album called Reckless. They did a bunch of dates with Guns N' Roses, and they did off nights on their own in much smaller venues. Almost about winding it up. We'll do another box set. Then we're going to finish up with an artist that's as current gets. And this is one of the funkier looking box sets. Look at this. It is a keyboard, and it's none other than Miss Tori Amos. And obviously can't play it, but it does look very cool. Difficult to store because I got to store it by itself. It comes with a nice hardback book. All right, and in the book, it's kind of a long book, kind of like I have one that's similar by the Talking Heads, but that's a little bigger, but same size, same shape, I should say. And it talks about her career, and it's got some some early pictures, back from like Under the Pink days. And it's got album track by track commentary by Tori Amos, so that's a great way to get into the artist's mind and take a look-see. Stuff like To Venus and Back, Boys for Pele, every album she had up until this point. And once again, a great place. Got some rarities on here, definitely worthwhile. They even kept the piano theme. It's a multiple disc set. It is literally 5 discs, okay, and all from the different phases. Try and get you a look at the pictures of Tori, of her career. It's got demos on here, live stuff. It's excellent stuff, just to give you an idea of what's on here. Silent All These Years, Crucify, which was her single from the first album, Me and a Gun, The Flying Dutchman, China, Little Earthquakes, the title track from her first album, Cornflake Girl, Take Me With You, Cloud on My Tongue. I mean, like, there's just ton of stuff on here. Hey Jupiter, Professional Widow, Constantina, Sugar, The Waitress, Snow Cherries from France, Not David Bowie, Playboy Mommy, Ode to My Clothes, Cruel, Gold Dust, The Pool, Just so much good stuff on here. And you got a demo medley, Fire Eater's Wife, Beauty Queen, Playboy Mommy, Sort of Fairy Tale, This Old Man, Purple People, and on and on and on. Running long on time here, so we're going to get to one last thing that I have to show you. And that's an artist which I'm really excited about. These are, all over the map, 80s, 90s, 70s, 60s, and one that's current. And her name's Annie Clark, all right? And I've talked about her in the past. Annie Clark is better known as St. Vincent. She took her name from St. Vincent's Hospital here in New York City, and that was where the poet Dylan Thomas had passed away. And Annie is an artist. It's like she's very avant-garde. She switches up her look a lot like David Bowie. Always seems to have a new persona. So Annie Clark, better known as St. Vincent. This is her last album, Daddy's Home, and this is a special edition of it. She's got a new album coming out in April, which I'm going to have and I'm going to be looking at. Absolutely love Annie. She started off as guitarist and vocalist in this band, The Polyphonic Spree. She's a Berkeley-trained musician. Her uncle is Tuck Andrus of Tuck and Patty fame. If you're familiar with New Age music, you'll know Tuck Andrus and Patty Cathcart. Tuck's her uncle and Patty's her aunt. And this album, this is, like I said, an alternative version of Daddy's Home as far as the artwork, and it's a colored vinyl. So we'll take a look at that. This comes with a little poster of Annie on one side. We'll pull that back so you can get a look. Try and get it out of the glare. There we go. And on the inside here of this sheet, we have the lyrics to the album right there. And, inside the gatefold, we have Annie Clark reading Playboy magazine, or St. Vincent reading Playboy magazine right there. And you got the liner notes down here. And we have the vinyl. Looks like the wallpaper from the album for the sleeve. And then this funky black and white, gray, smoky vinyl. She's on Loma Vista Records. The new album is called All Born Screaming. They've already started the campaign for that. She's going to be out on tour. Unfortunately for me, she is a bit of a trip away for me to go see her live, but I will get to see her one day, I swear. Hopefully when she comes back on her second leg of the tour, instead of being in Brooklyn, maybe she'll be in the city and I won't have that long of a trip. But just want to thank you all for stopping by this week. Listen to me blather on about the ladies in rock. Salute those ladies, man. They're out there kicking ass. As usual, I always say thanks for stopping by. Okay, please leave a comment. All right, click like, share the video with your friends. Get more people turned on to this channel, and most importantly, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. For crying out loud, do me a favor. We want to make the ant colony grow. All right, thank you so much. Coming up in the weeks ahead, probably next week, we're going to do a recap of some of the new stuff that I've bought, because I still have a mountain of stuff to get through that I haven't gotten through yet. Going to have going to do a show on Queensryche. All right, an entire show just on Queensryche. Then we've got Record Store Day, which is coming up, which is a big, big holiday for music heads like me. The Soundtrack Week, and a whole bunch more. So keep coming back for more. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Take care. Have a great week. Later.